Broadcasting live from Fountainport on the plain of Bloomburrow, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome, everybody, to Tap Tap Concede. My name is Graham. Joining me is Kathleen.
Hello.
And Cameron.
Huh?
And today, we're going to talk a little bit about Bloomburrow. And before that, we're going to talk a little bit about Secret Lairs. But before that, I'm going to remind you that the show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Please check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. It does us a lot of good if when you are going to buy your magical cards, you do so with that little /LRR on the end of it. We appreciate it. As a reminder, Card Kingdom is a great place to buy your cards. They'll ship sealed product anywhere in the U.S. because Wizard doesn't let them send it further, and singles anywhere in the world. So no matter where you are, you can buy some singles for your commander decks. And you can tell them, loading ready run sent me, button please, and they'll give you a little button with a funny thing on it. And right now, I believe we are on How About You Don't. So get on that while it's relevant.
Yep. I mean, I'm just thrilled that we have a timely button.
I was looking through some of the old ones. We've had a couple timely ones before, such as Omnath was ejected. That's a twofer there.
Oh?
Well, because it's double timely. One, it's like peak Among Us.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And two, it's when Omnath was banned.
Right.
Yeah, it's like white text on black with some stars,
No.
right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, everything that we do here at Loading Ready Run is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, or by becoming a member on this very YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Shout-outs at the end of the episode. But not shout-outs. Yeah, that
Shout-ins.
works as a segue. Shout-in. What's up, shout-ins? No.
What about just shouting?
Yeah. Let's have some shouting about Secret Lair. Man, what a bummer of a week.
Yeah. So
No bueno.
Yeah.
I
Have never bought a Secret Lair.
no, but I will say, I am a nerd.
Language.
I am a huge nerd. Heather, I'm sorry for making you beat me 3 minutes in. I am a huge nerd, and I was really tempted by the Monty Python Secret Lair.
Yeah.
And when you were going to be putting in your Secret Lair order, I was going to say, add one. Right? Just
Right.
like,
But
then I didn't need to worry about it.
my Secret Lair purchasing has been going down a little bit. I didn't buy anything in the last drop. And then this one, I was like, these Python ones are great, even though they're in two different things, and one of them is 3 cards and a token, because there's probably a bonus card in there too. I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm definitely going to get this. Let's just rewind briefly for those who may not be aware of this. First of all, when Secret Lair launched, way originally, their whole plan for it was that these are like, limited merch drops, like many things do, like pop-ups or whatever. Magic's not the first people to do something like this. And the way that it worked was you had a day. They were like, you have 1 day to buy this. This is it. Or maybe they're sold out. Like it was quick. Mm-hmm. And people did not like that. Because what if you have stuff to do? What if you forget? It's like...
What if you were not paid that day?
Yeah.
Like, there's all sorts of reasons why you don't always have like $50 and the time to do that ready, right?
We don't like the forced FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? The people responded negatively. So they changed it. They changed a couple things. One, they got better about hyping them up in advance rather than just like, it's here. It's only here for 24 hours. 2, they changed it so it was a span of time, usually a week or 2 weeks. There was like a period of time so that it wasn't all just everyone rushing for a day. And 3, it was print to order. So they only they printed as many as they sold, but also there were as many as people wanted, right? Like,
If you wanted one, you could get one.
Yeah, if you wanted one, you could get one. The downside, and it was a downside, I admit, is that because they didn't start printing them until after the sale had closed, it could take months
Oh yeah,
to ship.
I do recall many, many times of a mysterious package showing up at our house and me being like, what's this? And you be like, I have no idea. And then you go, oh, a Secret Lair. When did I order this? I kind of liked that, though, but I'm a fan of whimsy.
I kind of liked that, too. Obviously, the coin flipping Secret Lair commander deck was egregious.
Yeah.
Great word.
Nice.
Love it. Because that took, I think, like a year or something. Like it was, something went very wrong there. But they'd been getting better with the other stuff. Like it was, it's like 3 months or whatever. And then for whatever reason, and I know that they gave reasons at the time.
They said that they had demand dialed in.
Yeah, but that's not why they made the change.
But they said that they had demand dialed in after doing it for so many years. They kind of knew how much they needed to print.
They were changing it to a system where they were printing in advance, and they'd be like, we're going to print this limited number of things, and we'll put it up for sale, and when it's sold, it's out, and then that means that we will ship it immediately. So we started seeing posts of people who were receiving theirs while the drops were still technically available for sale, which was cool, but it meant that things were selling out, and fairly quickly. Like I remember, I didn't buy any of these, but the Hatsune Miku drops, I was getting emails because I previously bought a Secret Lair, so I would get an email being like, "Oh, stock is low on blah 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 blah." And there was one instance, I think I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the ones I think that was in the first Miku Lair drop, but wasn't one of the Miku ones. I didn't buy the Hatsune Miku ones, but there was another one that was in there, and it was like, hey, the Miku ones are running low, and I was like, oh right, there's a Secret Lair. So I went and clicked on it, and I was like, oh, okay, those ones are sold out. Oh, and the one that I want is sold out in foil, but it is still here in not foil. So which is, I prefer to buy them in not foil anyway. So I was like, great. So like I bought it, and this was days in. This was like 8 days in or something like that. And then this week they did the Monty Python one, and I got it launched at 9 a.m. Pacific. At around 10:30, 11, I think it was, I got an email that was like, hey, the Bloomburrow showcase lair is getting low. And I was like, oh, right, this is the Monty Python one. I want to go check that out. And indeed, the Bloomburrow showcase was getting low. The others were all sold out.
Yeah.
Just gone. Apparently the experience was worse for people who actually knew when the Secret Lair launched.
Because they spent an hour waiting in line.
Yeah, waiting in the digital queue to then be told that it was sold out.
Yeah. So there has been an issue. I think that, obviously it's not like this is the first time that things have sold out really quickly. Mm-hmm. I think it's been getting slightly worse with every Secret Lair. And it is making people annoyed because it is not a good experience. People act like, I know that Secret Lairs before took a while to get there, but I don't think that people really minded that much because you got what you wanted.
I mean, people complained about it, certainly. I don't know that a huge number of people complained about it, but definitely people complained about it. But I think this is much worse.
Yeah,
yes.
I think
this is a far worse experience, especially when you can go on eBay and find them being sold at kind of an arbitrary markup. I don't mind waiting for my little treats.
Yeah, I feel like
I just don't. I don't.
No, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
It just doesn't particularly bother me to wait a few months, because I can't really imagine any situation in my life where not getting these within a week matters.
No,
to me. I mean, I'm sure there are situations where people are like, well, I needed this for a tournament, right? Like, there's actually
That's
like
true.
a rare or difficult to find card, or a card that was only printed in small amounts here. I need it for like an event I'm going to, and yeah, that sucks. I think it's far worse to just like have a limited number of them that go away instantly.
Well, and in a system that incentivizes that FOMO feeling, and in a system that incentivizes people to hoard them and to resell them.
Yes.
I literally just opened eBay and searched for it, and the going rate seems to, for both Monty Python sets is $300 Canadian.
Fuck.
Or at least that's what people are asking.
That wasn't a full swear. See, this is like this, and then like the thing is, if it's just print to demand, there's no incentive to do this. Like obviously there's aftermarket and stuff like that. There is a little bit, but not to the same degree.
Yes.
Because if you wanted it, you would have just gotten it, right? And it's much harder to miss out. So there's always going to be people like, oh, what is that? Like, I'll sell it later.
This also, I have to assume this can't be better for Wizards.
No.
Like, isn't it just worse for them?
I imagine this is less overhead.
I guess, but it has to be worse for them to not sell to demand because they're not getting any of this eBay money.
No.
No, but it does make it seem more exclusive and popular. You know, look how quickly this sold out. That seems
how
like
does that benefit? How does that benefit Wizards?
It seems like the kind of metric an executive would be excited about.
Yeah, like I'm at, maybe there's a Hasbro executive who's like, but it's just like sneakerheads now.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
We have tapped into this cachet. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know at what level these decisions are being made.
Yeah.
And like, I guess an experiment like this is like inevitable because people I saw online were, complaining and posting about how they did not like waiting in some cases many months for their secret lairs to show up, which, I gotta respect as an opinion, as being a factual thing that somebody is saying that they don't like, and it's, okay. I guess that's how you feel. That's fine. But this just feels so much worse. Although I guess maybe Wizards could have anticipated that there would be the Venn diagram overlap between Magic players and Monty Python nerds.
They should have anticipated that those circles would more larger.
Yeah, exactly.
The same circle.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that
There's probably more people outside those, or more people inside those circles than outside them.
Yeah, probably. Actually.
Yeah. The fact that we were going to finally be able to get a copy of Prodigal Sorcerer printed as Tim the Enchanter when
we've been calling it Tim for years.
This is one of Magic the Gathering's oldest card nicknames.
Yeah.
Like Prodigal Sorcerer, I think has been called Tim the Enchanter like since Alpha. Like this is a long enduring meme.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Yeah. I Tim you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is something, we're not like the ultra old school grognards of Magic the Gathering. This was a meme when we came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a meme for as long as I've been playing.
Yeah, this is just swag value to have. This is just something that everybody would like.
I guess back in the olden days, the nickname Tim would have been passed around in much the same manner as the cool S through the utterly inscrutable telepathic link shared by all middle school children. Right?
Yep.
It's like, how did these kinds of like in-jokes get passed around before the internet? Oh, I have no idea.
Somebody just told us.
Yeah.
I saw it on a fence somewhere.
yeah. It just emerged. Like somebody's cousin brought it in from California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Castle of Arg.
I gotta say,
I'm so mad.
They're so good, and like so there was when I heard they were doing this, and I saw Tim, I assumed that they would do one of the Black Knight for Oathsworn Knight from Throne of Eldraine, because that card is literally meant to be the Black Knight.
Right.
That's the joke, is how that card functionally works. That it just has counters, and it slowly you chip the counters away every time you attack it, and it's great. Having said that, printing it as Dismember instead is perfect and so good, and a much more useful card.
Yes.
Yeah. I think getting this as a replacement for the new Phyrexia Dismember is just a feel good on all accounts. Mm-hmm. Although I have to imagine that any table where any number of these cards are getting played is going to get real annoying real fast.
Probably.
Just like in like The Simpsons. You remember when Homer went back to university and gets put in the nerd home? Mm-hmm. And it's just all of the nerds making Monty Python not even making Monty Python jokes, just quoting the lines at each other.
Right.
And Homer's like, knee.
Oh.
I have to say, doing the knights who say knee as as 3 visits or any kind of ramp spell, really. I don't know why I never thought of that, because they
That's
literally is
clever.
like,
It's
go
honestly
away,
really clever.
go away and bring back a shrubbery.
Yeah.
Is great. Do you remember? There's a scene. It's not one of the more memorable scenes, and I am trying to convince myself that it is actually in Holy Grail and not like Gilliam's Jabberwocky movie. But like, there's a scene with a 3-headed knight.
Yes.
Isn't there? Like
yeah,
an ogre?
they encounter a knight in the woods who tries to give them... No.
It's not a long scene.
No. Yeah.
It's when the first time Sir Robin runs away.
Right.
Right.
Brave Sir Robin.
And then they just the 3 heads get into a big argument.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
it. Yeah, and it cuts to wide again and everyone's gone.
Right.
Because they're arguing over how they're going to eat them.
Right.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more I
That's
remember...
a classic comedy setup.
We should do a Knights of the Holy Grail, or Monty Python and the Holy Grail, back to back with the Green Knight, and see how much the vibes overlap. Because the Green Knight is just like wall to wall, like, you know, Gawain's on his quest, and he's doing stuff, and it's very surreal, and it's gorgeous, and it's a great movie, but it's full of these like weird little interludes that the more I think about them, like, the more I would think of Eric Jones. Is it Eric?
Terry Jones.
Terry
Jones. Terry Jones, who's got his PhD in, he's a medievalist, isn't he?
I think he
believe
was.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, being like, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I think this is a function of, like, I feel like they're both adapting, I would say rather faithfully, the same source, which is, you know, the medieval ideas of, like, storytelling and narrative and, like, not getting bogged down, especially when, you know, you have these things that are recopied time and time again, and maybe somebody just puts in their own little OC fanfic, essentially,
it's
slides
like
it between the 2 chapters.
It's like how the Icelandic translation of Dracula inserted an entire bisexual subplot that went undetected for like 80 years.
Really?
Because people reading it in Iceland were just like, I guess this is what Dracula is like. And any people not from Iceland were like, why would I read the Icelandic translation of Dracula?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point.
Like, there's just absolutely no reason for me not to read this.
Yeah, what even if I spoke Icelandic and was interested in maybe that's it. Somebody who was like learning Icelandic and was like, I've never read Dracula.
Yeah,
what is this?
I think it came out because Icelanders were just like, yeah, no, I mean the Francis Ford Coppola, Bram Stoker's Dracula is really good, but I don't know why they cut all the gay subplots from it.
And
like, what?
Which characters were horny for one another?
All of them, I think.
Wow, Iceland.
All of Lucy's husbands
were horny for one another.
Yes.
Oh, well, all right. Somebody get me the
either that or I hallucinated this. Maybe I had a dream.
It.
Maybe I had a winning idea.
Oh.
I
want to see
classic stories retold, but with sex, with more sex.
Who wouldn't love it?
Honestly, Cameron, I'm stealing that idea.
Speaking of new ideas, I want to not even pivot.
Before we get off,
I want them to I want them to do. So here's the thing. Obviously, it was successful. I am among the many who are super annoyed about the way that this Secret Lair was done, and I don't know. I hope they print more. I hope they have the stones to print more of it.
I have seen people online saying that apparently Mark Rosewater is like aware of how upset people are and is like advocating up the line and stuff like that. After this one, he's like, I have raised it to, people that this is not good for the community.
Yeah.
Right.
They are keenly aware. I would like them to do more because I'm just thinking now about how many other things in just that movie could work as magic cards.
So I would just like to point out, though, because the Wizards employees are aware, and anyone that you can talk to about this is not the person who made this decision.
Yeah.
I really stress that anyone who you will deal with in the aftermath of this kerfuffle had nothing to do with the planning, implementation, or decisions that were made that led to it. So please be respectful to them. And if you do want to pass on feedback, like I'm sure there's feedback forms, and just write a polite email and don't be mean to anyone because no one deserves that kind of harassment
No,
for having
and
to do a thankless job.
I mean, I think
Not that I
the-
think our community would.
No,
but
I don't think
it's-
our community would either. I think that you
those
can
vibes
absolutely
out.
say stuff on social media as well. You just
Yeah,
don't have
absolutely.
to be rude to the person running the Twitter.
Yes, exactly. There's like, you can say I think it's important that we state our displeasure, but in a way
Oh,
that
yeah.
respects the people who have to parse it and bring it up the line.
Yeah, like
They're people too.
I get that this decision was made. Every step in this decision was made for well thought out reasons.
Yeah. Like
Right.
the kind of reasons that say, well, surely 9 pregnant women could have a baby in 1 month.
Yes.
Right, yes.
Love those decisions.
Yeah. So, some other thoughts about things you could do from Holy Grail as cards?
Oh.
Ooh.
And now I'm just trying to think.
I mean, there's got to be like a Sir Robin ran away for ephemerate, right?
Oh,
Or
like
the
an
one with
ephemerate?
rebound?
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking of there's a
What about ensnaring bridge? Just as ensnared, like
well, I mean they have
Oh,
the
bridge?
the bridge is door to nothingness.
oh, okay,
The Bridge
yeah.
of Death.
What's your favorite color?
Yeah, right.
Because you need to do all the colors.
Ow.
Yeah.
Oh
No, this is truly put together with love, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
I've
that's
said it-
so stinky.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that the passion and care that the creative people who work at Wizards of the Coast truly exhibit, really, they get so much goodwill from it. Oh.
There's a is it a gosh, there's like a bard. Is it? I think it actually has. Is there a card that actually has like cacophony or like cacophonic or something in its name? I thought there was.
There's Birth of Cacophony, or is
They
that
should've-
a card name that I'm thinking that I may have suggested that didn't get picked? That might be it.
Anyway, I'm thinking specifically of the bard that chases Sir Robin around singing
Yeah.
his terrible song.
What about what's the castle Lancelot? Not is it Lancelot who goes there? And it's like
Oh yeah,
full
yeah,
of young women.
yeah. What's the name of the castle? It's such a stupid name too.
Just reprint that as oubliette.
Oubliette.
What would the only thing that would make this extremely funny is if they reprinted the One Ring as the Holy Grail.
Oh.
That would be very, very funny, actually.
Like, hey everyone, we reprinted the One Ring for you.
I mean,
Oh, there we go. Insufferable Balladeer.
Mm.
What's that, Paul?
Holy Hand Grenade is an obvious one.
Right, as I assume Navineral's disc.
Probably, yeah.
Or, Goblin Grenade or something.
Goblin Grenade, yeah.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. Oh,
Do they have persistent petitioners in this layer?
it's like one of the bonus cards?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, I just feel like there's definitely something to be said for persistent petitioners in a Monty Python movie. Just like, that's the peasants are having the discussion.
Oh, like the
Yeah, right. We're an autonomous collective.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's a.
Actually, that would be great. Yeah, we're an autonomous collective. Just,
That's-
swords being handed out by watery turds, know.
Yeah. Is not I mean,
Not a basis for government.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So-
Although I did love how everyone was making jokes about that during the long string of Tory prime ministers
Yeah.
in England about how like, well, maybe watery tarts distributing scimitars is a better method.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, sorry. The Cowtapult is the bonus card for the first Secret Lair. It's Goblin
Goblin
Bombardment.
Nice.
Fetchez la vache. And then for the second one, the bonus is the Killer Rabbit of Caerbannog,
Right. Yeah.
which is just Kezadrix, because of course it's a rabbit beast.
Represent
Yeah. So,
Happy Bunny.
yeah. So anyway, I think there's more. Is my point. I think there's more opportunity
yeah,
here.
we could, we could do more things.
You could get all the knights. I assume there's a reason that they didn't, but
likeness rights for the pythons?
They're on here.
Yeah, they're all represented.
I mean,
Maybe-
they don't necessarily look exactly like.
Yeah, there's some
people.
artistic license to
Yeah.
them, but yeah,
Anyway,
maybe they just thought it would be more interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Hey, speaking of rabbits, actually, this is one of the better segues I've done this episode so far.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Bloomburrow.
Buns.
We should talk about Bloomburrow a bit because
Yeah.
it's freshly out on Arena.
God, that set's so good.
It's
love it.
It's a lot of fun.
I love the frog deck. All I want to do is draft frogs. I went into this thinking maybe I would like to only draft otters, blue-red spells. I love blue-red spells. No, not like I like bouncing frogs back to my hand.
Talk to me about the frogs. What's the frog deck like?
The frog deck has a bunch of critters that have ETB effects. For example, there's Pawn Prophet, which is Elvish Visionary. There is another frog, a frog piker, that loots when it ETBs. So that's nice.
Oh yeah, it's 1 and a blue for a 2/1 that does that. It's
Yes.
the something like Bellowing Crier or something
I
like
think
that.
so. And then there's a frog that puts a +1/+1 counter on something when it ETBs. It's like a little O1.
Oh, the sun shower.
Yes. Yeah. He's standing so good. He's standing so look at him. He thinks he has a neck. Look at this is the best frog I've ever seen in my life.
Sun shower druid. Yeah,
This is
single
the best frog who has ever frogged.
So you bounced this guy multiple times, obviously.
Yes.
single green for a 0/2 when it enters. Put a +1/+1 counter on
So-
a creature and you gain 1 life.
So these are your nuts and bolts frogs, right? I just love these guys. Then there is the a suite of uncommons. There is the 4-mana 4/4 with reach that for 2 green blue returns a frog to your hand.
Lily Splash Mentor.
Yeah, Lily Splash Mentor.
Isn't it better than just returning a frog to your hand?
it's
Isn't
any
it
creature.
literally just blink
Any creature?
anything?
It might be. It might flicker. Actually, no. Yeah, it flickers, and it
Oh,
returns with a +1/+1. This is why people were just scooping to me.
So
I've very rarely gotten to play with this because people just see it land and are like, "Yeah, fine."
It's 2 green blue for a 4/4 with reach, and for 1 green blue, yeah, you exile something you control, you return it to the battlefield right away with a +1/+1 counter on it, so it gets slightly larger. But oh no, the limiting factor, you can only do it as a sorcery.
I can't use this to dodge removal. It's just complete garbage.
Oh.
And then there is a 1/3 at uncommon that whenever a creature leaves the battlefield but does not die, you put a +1/+1 counter on something else.
That's the 3-tree
3-tree mentor? 3-tree...
Three tree scribe.
scribe. That's
Yes.
the one. Yeah, so it's a 2/3. Cameron, this is a 2/3 for 2. This is already good.
It's
Yeah.
good.
And then,
Oh, it's amazing.
whenever it or another creature you control leaves the battlefield without dying, you put a
Yes.
counter on another creature you control.
So
God.
this is just all I want to play. Then there are rares that make all of these better.
Before you get to the rares, I want one more uncommon. Clifftop Lookout, I think. It's another frog. It's a 1/2 for 3, and you...
Right, yes. You look
It's
for a
got
land.
reach also randomly, and then when
he
it
jumps.
when it enters, you just reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land. You put that card on the battlefield tapped, and the rest in the bottom. So it
God,
never
that's so good.
it never misses,
Yep.
right? And
and you don't put all your stuff in your bin
Yeah.
and so
because that's not what the frogs want to do.
Cameron, you were about to talk about the rares.
Yes, there is. There's Clem, the Worrywart,
Yeah,
who has a really, really interesting interaction. When he enters, you can bounce something to your with equal or lesser, with lesser mana value to its owner's hand.
yeah, one of your things.
Yep.
Yeah,
Whenever another creature you control enters, you do that as well. So you can set up these chains.
yep.
He's got vigilance and a tap ability that he also gives to all frogs. He turns all your frogs into Lana War frogs.
Frog of Wars.
They can tap.
Frogs of War.
They can tap for green or blue, but only to cast creature spells.
Oh no!
Oh
Yeah.
no. Yeah. But he can swing in and then tap to replay the frog that he just bounced.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is Paul, you had him up earlier. He's another 1/3.
Dower.
Dower.
Dower Port Mage.
Yes, yeah. Who 1 and a blue, tap to return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. Whenever one or more other creatures you control leave the battlefield without dying, draw a card. These enhance but don't make the deck. Right? These are my favorite kind of category of rares, where all of the nuts and bolts, the deck's main function occurs at rare and uncommon, so that it's plausible to put it together. You can entirely see decks, or entirely.
You can.
It is much more plausible to have events where you're able to put this deck together.
You don't need to open a rare.
No.
You just need to get a few uncommons.
Yeah. And you had an instance in the Fam Jam, which I mentioned to Ben later in the day, and then also happened to him, which was you had the 3-tree scribe, and your opponent exiled one of your creatures, which is one of your creatures leaving the battlefield without dying.
Yep.
Because dying specifically goes to the graveyard, so it also triggers that. And then there's some exile effects in this set. And you're still losing a creature, but the point is you're getting like some incremental bonus value. But the other rare, you had this at the PPR, Mist Breath Elder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mist Breath Elder.
This card's messed up.
Myth Breast Elder.
So it's a 2/2 for 1 green.
I did not understand how this worked when
Neither
I
did I.
drafted it.
So the way it works is at the beginning of your upkeep, you must return another creature you control to your hand. When you do that, you put a +1/+1 counter on Mist Breath Elder. If you have no other creatures, you may return Mist Breath Elder itself. It's a little hard to parse, but what I've explained is how it functions. What kicked my butt the other day is someone with this and the Clifftop Lookout.
Right.
They had every piece of land out of their deck because every turn they were just like, and this Clifftop Lookout, and I go get a land, and then the next turn I bounce it, I make Mist Breath Elder bigger. Mist Breath Elder was like a 6/6. They just kept playing this other thing. It was quite frightening.
Yep. I love this deck so much. I want to thank whoever at Wizards made this deck, advocated for this deck, got this deck through. This is what was the Bellowing? It was an uncommon from a core set, probably about 10 years ago. Bellowing something. It was a beast.
No idea.
Oh.
4 mana in green.
Um,
Something Bellower. It
yes.
bounced something to your
Bellowing
hand.
Tangleworm?
It bounced
No.
something to your hand at the beginning of.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
Bellowing Elk.
No, it was. It looked like one of the big Muppets. You know, the ones with the dudes inside.
Yeah.
And it was pushing trees aside.
Yeah, I know.
Paul, you can find it based on that,
I
right?
know what you're saying.
I can tell you it's not bellowing.
It's not bellowing.
Oh, shoot. What was it called? It was rare, wasn't it?
I thought it was an uncommon.
Wow, if you know, let us know in the comments, because I have no clue.
But he was just a big guy who was scaring your creatures back to your hand.
And yeah, every turn, you had to bounce something every upkeep, right? Or like you had to return one of your things every upkeep.
I think so.
And then if you couldn't,
Then you had to
then
sacrifice it?
or you had to return it, I guess. I think
I
it was
guess.
just every upkeep you have to return a creature.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that's going to bug me. Oh, well.
But the frog deck is all I ever want to do. I'm so happy whenever I see it go around. It's such a cool deck. It's doing a lot. This is my kind of magic. All I want to do is take game actions and then die to moose. It's the true Canadian lifestyle, dying to moose.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have not. I mean, so I did the Fam Jam, but I've been really busy working on other things at night, and so I've not been playing as much Magic. But I gotta play more of the set because I did the Fam Jam, and then there was a little bit of a everybody wanted to play delay, but I got one draft in.
I found it. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It's an uncommon. Roaring Primadox.
Right.
3 and a green for
The
a
roar,
4/4.
bellow, those are synonyms.
Yeah. At the beginning of your upkeep, return a creature you control to its owner's hand.
Oh, it is a big guy pushing over the trees.
Yeah.
No, Cameron remembered it perfectly, except the word.
Durek Colonian Tracker. But
Anyway, sorry, you were saying.
so I was going to say I haven't done a lot of this format yet, but I've done a draft. I did. I've played a lot of red so far, just because I did a few sealeds, and that was what was in my sealed pool. And then when I drafted, red was also like open. So I have to say, big shout outs to some very specific cards, which are also at uncommon. Teapot Slinger.
Yep.
My God, what an MVP!
I love Teapot Slinger.
That is such a good card. It is so easy to spend 4 mana.
Yep.
It just that incidental 2 damage, and it's a 3/4, so it blocks so well. It has menace, so it goes sideways. Like this card, mwah, I love this card. Got 2 of these, oppressive. Like 2 are really, really good. I think this is like, some cards I'm like, yes, I want one of those. I would do 2 Teapot Slingers. I don't know if I'd do 3 because they are 4 mana, but they're just good.
But then the third one makes the other 2 trigger.
Yeah, they just don't.
Yeah,
keep
no,
getting,
I would actually play a deck of just Teapot Slingers.
I was a big fan of this whole. I mean, this was sort of the deck I played with the PPR. The Expend was really, really good.
Yeah, there's a mouse that's an uncommon mouse that it gives buffs a creature according to its power, and it's like a 2/3 for 4, and I'm like,
Emberguard Captain.
is that good? Yes, that's extremely good. I got absolutely ranched by this card, and then I drafted it, and it turns out it ranches other people, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Emberguard Captain is great. Yeah, it's 2/3 for 3 and a red, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +X/+O, where X is Brambleguard Captain's power. So just by itself, it attacks as a 4/3 for 4, which is not bad. That's a little expensive, but what it also means is like, oh, thank you for this tapped fish you've given me. It's now attacking you as a 3/1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Like that was what I did anyway. Yeah,
Or like a bird,
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
a
birds.
bat. Red and white. There's sort of a flying sub theme in white, and red and white are really good friends. So you start turning some of these bats sideways, and suddenly you're attacking for 4 mana or for 4 damage in the air.
If you get under the heel of the black-white life drain,
Yeah, the
nonsense.
black-white life drain deck can kill people really fast as long as it's able to swing in.
I don't remember.
That deck
yeah.
seems. I think that deck either wins hard or loses hard.
I haven't been
Because-
able to put it together yet because it's very conditional on the cards. I feel.
Yeah, I think if it builds momentum, it wins quite handily. If it runs up against, I don't know, the frog deck that has reach on anything and it can't start its avalanche of life drain,
Yeah.
it's in big trouble because its creatures just aren't that big.
No, you're attacking with like a 1/2 bat normally.
Yes, and then I think it's low to the ground nuts and bolts piece is the lizard, the 1/3 that drains.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, it's that one and the 1/2 flyer that's a soul warden.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the 1/2 bats that gain you life when a creature enters the battlefield. And yeah, the agate blade assassin just does this incidental
But
pinging.
the uncommon, I don't remember the name of it. I'm so sorry, but it's a 3/5 black-white bat with flying and vigilance, which is already an incredibly good body.
Yes.
The Starseer Mentor.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost, not gained and lost, gained or lost life in your turn, target opponent does the big sacrifice decision of they either lose 3 life or sack a permanent or discard a card.
Like that's brutal.
If you get to do this every turn, that's preposterous.
It's backbreaking because it's very easy to gain life in this deck because there's certain things that literally will gain you life when you attack or need to, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it.
Oh, and
Yes, there you go. Moonrise Cleric.
yeah, gain a life when you attack.
This card is honestly, I love this card. This
Yeah.
card's really good. It's good in white and it's good in black because it's good in aggro. Like if you ignore the white black and you put it in that red white sort of aggro deck, getting that if you're in a position to race, getting that little extra 1 life can actually make quite a bit of a difference. And it's in the air, which makes it evasive, which is really nice. So you can be for example, you have your Brambleguard Captain pinging on this, which I have done, and then you suddenly it's a 5-point life swing.
The thing that I really like about Brambleguard Captain is that it doesn't have to attack itself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if the ground is just too cluttered, you can still send something in the air.
Oh,
Right? It's very nice.
this card is great. And when you get two of them, it's backbreaking.
Yes.
The which card?
The
Starscape
Starscape
Cleric.
Cleric. Yeah, when you pay the offspring.
1 in a red, 2/1 flying. Creature can't block. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life.
Right. So this combines with their flying Soul Sister.
Yeah, if you have one of those in play, then the offspring enters, gain 1, they lose 1, and then the parent, I guess, enters, gain 1, they lose 2.
Yep.
Because now you've got 2 instances of that ability. And Zoraline is kill on sight if you can.
Yeah.
This is the rare, of course, Cosmos Collar. 3 mana, 1 white black for a 3/3 flying vigilance. Whenever a bat you control attacks, you gain a life. This is interesting. The big ability. This came up on stream yesterday. Whenever Zoraline attacks, you may pay white, black, and 2. When you do, return target non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it.
Just brutal.
But
Paying 2 life is an upside.
Yeah, but the reason I emphasized when you do is because this is a reflexive trigger, and so I had when I had Sonic Blast or whatever, the 4 damage to an attacking or blocking creature, right? And normally it's like, okay, they're attacking and kill it. No, you have to wait for that trigger to resolve, because the way that this works is that whenever she attacks goes on the stack. And if you kill Zoraline then,
The ability is still...
then they can pay...
To bring back Zoraline?
Then they can pay the cost. When they do, then they target. And they can bring Zoraline back with her own ability. So you have to let that resolve and have them not pay or bring a different thing back, then kill Zoraline.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is absolutely something that would get me, and I would have to go outside.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, does this work how I'm afraid that it works? And chat was like, yes, do not do this yet.
Yeah.
You let
Okay.
that ability resolve. And I was like, okay.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if that happens to you, we have a support group here. It's the Loading Ready Run Discord. It's
gonna
filled with nice people.
Yeah.
We'll be like, lol.
No, they'd be like, they wouldn't. That's why I'm saying this.
Rafflemau.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be me.
They would have a series of pithy gifts. No.
And they
No,
would
they
stand
would-
around you in a circle posting.
They would be
gonna
very
cry, gonna cry,
kind.
gonna cry.
They would be very supportive. So our Discord is a great community. Alternately, go outside and go for a walk. Listen to an album.
Yeah, scoop first.
Yeah.
Scoop first.
Yeah, don't-
then
don't
go
roll
for
for
the
them.
walk.
Yeah.
Be good.
Kathleen, you drafted a very aggressive Boros mouse deck
I did. It was great.
at the
I
Fan Jam.
heard.
We got to play it on MTG the other day with myself and Corey. and
Yeah.
it went
How did it-
5 or 6 wins. It was very efficient.
Oh, good. I felt like I was very pleased that I had 2 copies of Crumb and Get It in there.
Yep, that card's great.
I think you honestly I would have taken probably more if I had seen them.
It's so cheap.
It's so cheap, and the mouse deck really wants you to target your own things. Because, it's so good.
Yeah, I do like that Valiant triggers off abilities, because I remember in Theros, the big problem with the heroic decks was that you just ran out of cards.
Yep. Because how many cards do you want to have in your deck that just kind of affect something else but don't do anything on their own?
Like, sure, you had God's Willing. That
And you
felt,
had
that
bestow
felt great.
creatures.
Yeah, you had bestow creatures, but it always felt like you were praying for those top decks.
What
and
is-
if you peeled a land, you could really run out of things very fast. But this, with triggering off abilities, means you can move equipment around,
Yep.
which feels nice.
You can put things on things. I have a question. What does God's Willing do again? It's very similar to this card now that I think
One
about it.
white instant. Target creature you control gains protection from
From the color of your choice.
Yeah, color of
and
your
scry
choice.
one.
Yeah,
Right.
scry one.
So, essentially indestructible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing is with Crumb and Get It is, depending on this board state and how their mana is tapped or whatever, you can just decide to not give them the food. You can be like, 2 extra toughness makes my creature live through what you're trying to do to me,
Yep.
so I just
I-
won't give you food.
I often do not give food.
Yeah, I was I'm quite satisfied that giving the gift often feels like an important decision.
Yep.
Or a meaningful decision.
Yeah, this set is so good, honestly.
During the Fam Jam, Wheeler drafted a sort of very heavily gift-focused deck. I think it was white, blue.
White blue
right.
presents.
There are a couple of cards that trigger off giving gifts.
There's
He
a
had 2 copies of Jolly Gerbils.
Jolly Gerbils.
Yes.
One in a white for a 2/3. So again, it's a 2/3 for 2. And whenever you give a gift, draw a card. And so he was just like, yeah, have a food, have a fish. I'm drawing cards. I'm burying you under a forklift of value. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
He had multiple copies of Gust, white. It's the flicker one. It's if you give a gift, you exile their creature.
Right. If you
and the
don't,
gift is a fish.
It just flickers it.
Parting Gust. Yeah.
Parting
So
Gust.
either you basically turn their creature into a 1/1 tapped fish, or you get to flicker your thing. But yeah, be like, yeah, have a fish. I take care of your huge thing. Also, I draw 2 cards because I have my Jolly Gerbils. Like, it was a preposterous
Also,
deck.
Jolly Gerbils being hamster citizens, I'm sure people are like, well, gerbils are actually part of the same clade as hamsters. But
So I will say I have
the
some
moose is an elk, so I don't know what you want.
I have some thoughts about why this set's such a banger.
Mm.
Because, like, to me, it already feels fun and elegant and intuitive and, smooth and delightful, and it does interesting things. And I think what this does is it's kind of the same reason everybody really likes Ravnica and everybody really likes Strixhaven, is that Magic the Gathering is so good when they're like, hey, here's a 2-color pair, and here's a bunch of interesting things that you can do with them together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Here's like a really strong identity and a bunch of like things that maybe don't look really super amazing on their own, but when you put them all together, they make a little synergistic pile that makes you feel like a mega genius because you drafted 4 cards that all have the same color identity, right?
yes.
And to me, these sets are just so good. Lorwyn, it's getting comparisons to that as well. I think maybe just because it's more cute and it has like the sort of the kindred.
Yeah. The vibe I get off of this is Kaladesh.
Kaladesh, really?
Actually, original block Kaladesh, or maybe Kaladesh Ether Revolt, where you had. Now, this is just me flying my flag, but the blue-green energy deck, where you would splash the blue-red uncommon that made Thopters for 3 energy.
Whirler Virtuoso.
Whirler Virtuoso.
Yeah.
My favorite deck in Limited ever. The where you just like play puzzle knots. And everything felt like it was ticking along. The deck like never played anything above 4 mana, and so that you could keep counter magic up. And then all of its game actions took place using energy, so that it was very easy to hold up like instant speed reactions for things. And it felt really good the handful of times I was able to actually like pull the deck together. And now I just feel like I'm playing another one of those decks where everything kind of happens at 4 mana, except the fact that Lily Pad Mentor requires mana at sorcery speed. Sad trombone.
Well, it's because they figured the things out.
Yeah, I
But
know.
yeah, I feel just like any 2-color set where the colors vibe really well together and they have a strong identity and it's easy to figure out what they want you to do. And the gameplay loops are fun and interesting. And like everything is doing its own, thing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I was just thinking about how on the Jolly Gerbils they have because the most common things to gift are a food
And a fish.
and a fish, that they have a cornucopia of food and a fish with a bow on it.
Yep.
In the art,
also,
it's great.
can I just say big shout outs to Wizards of the design group here, to whoever designed this set. It's got 10 distinct like groupings in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the guilds. You have Orzhov bats, you have Simic frogs, like all of them are represented in the same set. And all seem, and like some of them are more exciting than others, I think, but they're all unique and distinct.
I like the one where it's another 1/1 rare, I believe. It's a frog warrior. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a 1/1 with trample, and it gets a +1/+1. It's like Aquarian Dryad, but only for that specific group of 4 animal types.
Yeah.
And so it gets a +1/+1 counter whenever you play a frog a rabbit, a raccoon, or
A
a
bat.
squirrel.
Oh yes.
I think.
Yeah, because it's in
And-
green. Yeah.
Oh right.
In the and so, but it's a frog. So it's a frog in the foreground, like cutting through the undergrowth, and in the background is each of the other three animals, like watching over its shoulder as just a little fun little reminder. There we go. Valley mite caller. Yes. Everything I said is accurate. And then yes, you see the little all the creatures in the background there.
Yeah.
I love this vibe for blue green. I love the bounce things to your hand, everything else gets bigger. Like it is, I mean, fundamentally the interactions it provides are like play an extra land, draw a card. But it feels like you have to work for it a little bit, and there's more stuff going on than the usual just play an extra land, draw a card, like the Nadu
yeah.
interpretation of this. Like Nadu, no, I don't like that way of playing an extra land and drawing a card. I like the frog way of playing an extra land and drawing a card.
I'm a big fan. I like this set a lot. I think this is an all-time banger, honestly, and I know we're only a few days in, but sometimes, like, I know when I like a set or
Yeah.
not.
Yes.
I've played around with otters. I've played around with squirrels. They're lots of fun too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
OTJ,
good stuff.
Murders of Karlov Manor. Bloomburrow, though. I might, I don't know. I might keep a couple of boxes of these in the closet
Oh yeah.
just to like, hey, you want to draft Bloomburrow?
I do.
Yeah, I would. It's a really great set.
I'm gonna have to avoid doing that shortly on my phone so I can focus on
Getting
doing work.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for today. I hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed being here and chatting with you. Until next time, I want to remind you all to check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for a place to buy your Bloomburrow or whatever cards you might desire for whatever decks you might be building. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel. We really appreciate it. Until next time, I have been Graham, joined by Kathleen
Goodbye.
and Cameron. Paul has been on tech. Heather Guessie's online. Thank you all so much for watching. See you next time.
Bye.